Welcome to another Setons Wars. This should be a very good game. Was passed on to me by Gimbalt here. He's playing mid as Seraphim. So he's going one PGen. Looks like he's gonna do a factory attack move. And the reason he told me to get this game, watch this one, is because of Dim. Apparently Dim does crazy things in this one. And I did watch just the beginning, and it seems to be very promising. So we'll focus on Dim. He's playing Cybern, taking on Kuta. What I can do is I can save a couple of camera positions, maybe just over Dim's base right here. So we can always come back. So we can see Dim going 3 PGens with the ACU. Got a lot of the early NGs here. You can see the first NG is actually going to help the ACU out with 3 of the structures. Then he's going to go to the Hydro. Should be a very early air build. And if we look at Gimbalt, yeah, this first NG is going on an attack move. He's taking on a pretty good player here. The suspect is UEF, so 2 UEF players here. Gotta mention that we have a very good matchup in air. We got Aeon on Aeon, Igla and Mize. Igla extremely good at air, of course Mize. And the other ocean, 2 of the best naval players, Lion, one of the killers, and Lame God, also UEF. So this UEF fight is extremely boring. If you're playing UEF or Aeon and Navy and not Cybern, you're just afraid, and you just want to win instead of really having a nice game. It's kind of my opinion on this. So we have the Cybern with Dim. You can see he's going really hard after this Hydro. He just got it before minute 2 and going air. And he still hasn't picked up a lot of the mask sectors. And this NG going to this expansion is very, very late. It's something like the 4th NG. Now in the middle, I should definitely speed this up. Maybe at +2. See a bunch of mech marines sneaking in for a suspect. There's a Celine that should find these, and a tank moving in. And here comes the attack move. Now looking at Hawk, he is only going to get the air factory here at 250. So he is a little late, and Dim is already on a transport with 3 NGs going to the island. His second air is bomber, and you can see he does have multiple NGs here, 2 NGs guarding this air factory. If you look at his eco right now, he does have some pretty big power deficit. He's still doing alright, but he got all that mass from middle, but he's getting as much air as he possibly can. So you can see interceptors, bombers, and a transport. It's 330. And this is when Hawk is just sending in NG, or 3 NGs to his island. So Dim is slightly faster. So you can try to rewatch this replay of this video to see just what Dim did to really put a very good challenge for the island. See, if you get a factory first, you're really in good shape. And of course also having these interceptors here for Dim. Has total air control, which means his bomber can bomb multiple times. Takes out 2 NGs using the transport for scouting. So while this is happening, we have Gimbalt and Suspect basically got all the mass, nearly all the mass. If we look at the numbers for Suspect, 7,300. Gimbalt at only 5,000, so a pretty big advantage for the bottom team in terms of mass. And now we see here a tank actually does get built. Let me slow that down. For a Hawk, but a lot more NGs, and now Mantis coming out for Dim, plus air domination, plus NGs. So this should be a pretty easy situation for Dim, unless bombers from Hawk can change and take out a couple of those NGs. Some more bombers coming in from Dim now. And now in the middle, Suspect may be in a little bit of trouble. He's at 4,000 health, but no blocking, so he should be safely getting into the water. Now some interceptors from Hawk. And now, yeah, this is total domination. See multiple mantis. You can see this factory here just basically spamming mantis for dim. Coming up on minute 6, it appears that Gimbalt is pushing suspect back, who did get quite a bit more mass than him in the middle, but a much larger army for Gimbalt. Of course, nothing special to say about the bottom fight. As expected, the Rock does take the island, and we do see now the drop from dim. It's coming up on minute 7. You can see Hawk is planning to make a pretty big navy. These are actually arty. So you see dim does the right thing, does a move order immediately. So this arty do not hit a stationary target. Actually kills off those arties. Again, total air domination from dim. So now Hawk, he's probably thinking about how he's going to take the island back. Now he's got to think about his main base. These 3 factories for Hawk should give him some time, however. Yet another transport from dim, 5 units in this one. And I can see Hawk has switched to building tanks that can challenge those mantis, but more mantis from a transport. Now that mask extractor is killed off. The factories have a lot of health, so it'll be very difficult to kill those with just mantis. And now Hawk's ACU is moving in. Now take care of the situation. And as this is happening, dim is going into the water. It nearly got a T2 factory. This is minute 8. He's got 4 engines on that T2 factory and making a T1 navy as well. Absolutely no navy for Hawk. He's got other things to worry about. A lot of wrecks here for Hawk. He should be able to take over with his ACU. Yet another transport from dim. He's gonna take out another mask extractor. And first naval factory from Hawk, coming up on minute 9. Still total air domination from dim. And in the middle we see Gimbalt actually pushing really hard versus Suspect. Suspect does have T2 in his ACU coming out of the water. If we look at Gimbalt, he does have T1 plus the gun. A successful drop. This had both NGs. He captured a mask extractor. He's going to get radar and PD. A couple mantis moving in to raid. This is what you do if you see the ACU shift. Now the ACU is actually in the water making some torpedo launchers, and that would be a very good thing if dim was sending submarines. Dim is not sending submarines. He already has a destroyer a third of the way built. And that's very scary if you're playing in Cyber and they have a destroyer nearly built and you have absolutely no navy. More transports from dim. This is the 4th transport from the island. 2 transports to these factories. One over here is still trouble. And this one, you can see it isn't done off map. He's going to go after this T2 mask extractor. A pretty tough fight in the middle. Gimbalt at 6 kills. We do see T2 and shields from Suspect. This is all T1 plus ACU with a gun. And Gimbalt might put himself in a little bit of trouble. In terms of the air fight here, this is just eco fight. Seems very even. And I can see these mantis. It's interesting that dim has not been making any arty. Purely mantis, but I guess if they're not challenged, they can take out T2 mask extractors. It's a pretty big loss for Hawk there. Now Hawk finally starting some navy. He has 1 factory making submarines. This one will not be much of a factor, it doesn't seem. And now here comes the destroyers, middle 11. If we look at dim's eco, he's got all T2 mask extractors already. Actually working on a T3. So he's got a T2 navy in middle 11. Coming toward Hawk and a very good economy. You can see these mantis taking out a T1 mask extractor and the tank response from Hawk. He will kill off this very effective drop. It appears at 11 minutes 30 seconds. The last mantis from the 4 drops is still alive. It's taken out by a bomb from Iglo. And in the middle, big trouble for Suspect. He still has a higher score, but Gimbalt really rolled very hard. You see a lot of dead units in his path, 25 kills. But this is very dangerous for Gimbalt. Suspect as T2 has built a multiple T2 PD, so no more units can come to this ACU's aid. He's thinking about making a factory here. Interesting, dim does not move his T2 Navy to prevent Hawk from building his own. It's actually Hawk very quickly. He's about to get a T2 destroyer. This is going to be a UEF destroyer. So in close quarters it can challenge the Cyber destroyer, but there's also T1 Navy from Dim here, and it appears that this air fights can be pretty even. But Dim appears to be supporting Gimbalt's ACU. Now Gimbalt does have a few T2 mass extractors, should probably switch to just ecoing. Another destroyer coming out for Dim, and actually I think his second was a cruiser. He's got a cruiser, destroyer, multiple frigates, and a second destroyer coming into the middle. And a destroyer for Hokuto as well. Some ASF from Mize. He also made a T2 transport. He's probably going to be here to rescue Gimbalt, who is extremely aggressive now. That's a Seraphim ACU. With the gun, it's very dangerous. You gotta remember that this is an Aeon player here, but instead of Mercies, we're seeing T3 torpedo bombers. Extremely good anti. This is the best plane against ships. See how Igla uses those. Now we're seeing multiple T2 ships here from Dim. We might see an ASF fight. Mize really forces Igla back. Mize has a really nice spot to fight here with this cruiser. And nice to see. So we already see a second destroyer plus a shield. That's what gives you a huge advantage. Once they make those shields, it's going to be very difficult. And now Dim is going to attack. Shield here with 8,000 health. That's as much as a destroyer, just slightly more than a destroyer itself. So you got to really get close. But of course, these UEF destroyers are very good up close. And here's the transport for Gimbal. There is air coverage here, but it would be very dangerous for him to get on that now. And here come the T3 torpedo bombers from Igla. Be interesting to see how he uses those. There is ASF from Mize in the area, and you can see with the T1 Navy advantage for Dim, he just rolls through, kills off the shield, and now in close quarters Dim does lose a destroyer, but still a pretty big advantage. And here come the T3 torpedoes. They are targeting the destroyer. That was 2 torpedo planes, and they take out that destroyer, and they're gonna get a second pass. You can see 2 passes, and there's a whole bunch of torpedoes coming to this destroyer. 2 passes, 2 T2 kills, and actually 3. They also took out the cruiser. So these planes right here, 3 very valuable kills from these planes. Really gets Hawk back in the game. He now has destroyers, multiple destroyers that he can use. Dim no longer really has the numbers. And UEF with the shields can play defense very well. In the other ocean, we see 2 players that do not really want to fight. They're content with just making ships and staring at each other. 2 extremely good players, however. And in the middle, suspect is now pushing, and Gimbalt appears to have made it out. We did miss that part, but he's no longer in as much danger. Now interesting, there hasn't been an ASF fight. Igla waiting. He spent a whole bunch of eco on these torpedo bombers, so we should expect Mize has the numbers. And now Dim is going to help Gimbalt in the middle. Multiple destroyers. Of course, these can outrange these T2PDs, so very vulnerable. And now we see Lame actually moving into the middle. He's going to support Dim's Navy here to maybe try to push suspect back. But that was just a fake. We see Lion moving in as well. It's a very careful gameplay here from these 2 players. And now we see a cruiser, UEF cruiser from Hawk, and that will take out Dim's island. And you can see Dim not doing any building, not any upgrading. He's just sitting on those 5 mass extractors and waiting for them to be killed. He's not going to spend any kind of resources trying to protect that. In his main land he already has multiple, and he's getting another T3 mass extractor. He's got actually 3 T3 mass extractors. This is very strange. This would be a great place to drop. If you're playing against Dim for Hawk, it can cause a lot of damage. It's about 12,000 actually with the mass storage. Nearly 15,000 mass just invested right there that you can take out. Gimbal trying to keep his shield alive. Some T2 from Gimbal as well. This is suspect. A bunch of Yoshuas, no shields until T3 for Seraphim. And let's see. Seeing the second air factory. This is coming up a minute 19 for Igla. You can see it's a massive spam of air. It's nice to see. To compare this to Mize, he is getting his second plane as well. Looks like he has slightly less NGs on these. Both players still have a few T2 mass extractors, it looks like. Mize definitely does. So does Igla. We can actually see 2 shields, a cruiser and destroyer, and another destroyer moving in. And this hero torpedo bombers are in the air once again. And something of a fight here between Lion and Lame God. It appears that shields have been lost for Lion. Probably should retreat. Might see this EF on EF action finally. If we look at the construction, 1T2, 1T1 factory for Lion, and 1T2, 3T1 factories for Lame God. Now the destroyers for Dim are retreating. He does not want this fight, although he probably could take on these ships. He does have the numbers, but knowing he probably would get help, and now you can see these bombers have been given over to Hawk. They look a lot like that unit from Total Annihilation, that leash bomber, the nuclear bomber. That was a really nice bomber back in the day. He decided to just scout Hawk's navy. It appears that Lame is moving in. His shields are a lot more constant, it appears, than Lion. Lion does have a resource allocation as ACU, so his shields should be pretty solid as well. Appears that Gimbalt is getting some T2 mass extractors. He might already have T3 on his ACU. And suspect just making defensive structures. T2 on T2 fight here, which is probably going to end up being a stalemate. Really not much to gain if you win for either side. And this game, haven't really seen it past this point. It could turn into a very big eco fest, and has been that for a little while. You can see the drop from Hawk, and this is going to be minute 21. He's going to finally take his island back. Dim also ecoing pretty hard. It appears that he has all T3 mass extractors. So minute 21, making a very good navy, has maxed out his eco, and now he's actually going to make mass fabs. So minus 150 power is going to give you +1 mass. Not very efficient, but if you have excess power, might as well use them. So Dim might have the greatest economy right now on the map, and this naval spam is going to be very effective. You see multiple T2 factories. He's getting some more T1 scouts from Igla. Now we gotta look for Mize. He is making anti-nuke. Making some more T3 power generators. We gotta look for anybody who's making nukes in this one. Igla appears to be does have a few T3 power generators, no nukes yet. No lame after taunting Lion a little bit. Seems to be retreating back to the metal. That's kind of interesting. It appears that after Dim put a lot of pressure on Hawk, and Hawk put a lot of his early eco, and then inferior eco has been putting it into Navy and not really putting it into his mass extractors. He's going to be at a significant disadvantage now. With Dim, let's see, Hawk should be about plus 160 mass, whereas Dim is at 340 plus he's got 8,000 mass in the bank. So it's really an unfair contest now between Hawk and Dim. Now Dim is going to make a whole bunch of hives for build capacity and some T3 power. Looks like his ACU is T3 now. This might be a monster navy from Dim. He's got now the third T2 naval factory. This will be a monster cyber navy. Cyber navy is the weakest late game because they're so susceptible to planes. They can't build shields. This is one of the reasons naval mixing rules are so good. Otherwise, we completely lose that uniqueness that you get from a cyber naval player and a UEF naval player. And this will be a monster cyber. See Igla doing the right thing, always scouting. If I look at Lame God, still has a few T2 mass extractors. Now we might see somewhat of a fight. You can see a whole bunch of frigates. Just a mess of frigates from Lion. I don't know what the micro is here. I guess it's just get into a massive pile, fill up the ocean. But it is happening, and it does slow the game down. And now we're actually seeing T3. These are some Titans from Suspect, although these T3, T2 from Seraphim can hold their own against Titans. Gimbal making some T2 PDs, minute 23. We might start seeing experimentals very soon. If Dim wanted to make an experimental, he can make one very quickly. But looks like he's just gonna make naval. Some T2 transports from Igla now. Maybe some drops. So looking at Dim's base, and Igla has been scouting everybody's bases. He must have seen this. Dim's base is extremely susceptible to drops. And actually we're missing this naval fight. It appears that a lot of Lion's shields are down. And that's really the most important thing. UEF versus UEF. Although in terms of numbers it's very hard to call. And it appears these frigates have been targeting the shield balls themselves, and not many shield balls left. There is one back, or two, for Lion, and that's going to be a huge, actually three here, huge problem for Lion. More shields coming in from Lion. Appears to be this force is just teasing Gimbal. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. Now Igla moving in over Hawk's navy. Perhaps Hawk wants to move forward, but this will be a monster from Dim. Just park it right here and just have suspect space slowly disappear. And this UEF fight still very even. Not clear who the winner is. Seems to be mostly T1 on T1 from Lame God here, fighting both T1, T2, and all the T2 from Lame God is under shields, so completely full health, using it strange. But with these numbers, neither player could probably force the other,
all the way back to the production. Now let's see, there's some more plans for Mice. He's getting an optics facility, he's got the anti-nukes, he's making a lot of T3 power, so this is something that probably not very good to do. Just put all your power right here. If that anti-nuke gets taken out and you get nuked, you just lost all your power. Nice to spread it all over the place. Now we can actually see some hives for mice. Eventually you just hit the unit limit, the 1,000 unit limit here. You gotta switch to hives as if you're a back player. So still minute 25, no ASF fight. And just out of curiosity, Igla sitting at plus 11,000 power, 209 planes. Mize at plus 17,000 power, 173 planes. So maybe a little more power for Mize, but about 40 extra planes for Iglo. This will be a massive battle. It'll slow this down. We might see that. And now let's see how you use Cybern versus UEF. We're gonna see it nice and slow. You can see here this stealth unit here, the T3 sonar from Cybern. Completely wiped out that force. Actually no, the force just retreated under these shields. It's the correct thing to do from Suspect. And now this fight here in the middle might be swinging in Lion's favor. Not clear, but this is a lot of T2 here, but a lot of T2 for Lame God as well. All that T1 seems to have died. There, the T1 just was sort of thrown by both players into the mix in the middle. They got taken out. And here's a very big frigate spam. It looks like Dim splitting his navy into two, all the T1. He's going to try to stop the production for Hakuto. And all the T2 is going to go into the middle. So Hawk's got to choose. Does he help Suspect, or does he go back and prevent them from stopping him from making a navy? Seems to be a clear choice, but this decision is going to be very bad for Suspect. These shields will eventually fail, and Suspect is going to start losing units. Suspect could probably make a Fat Boy, which is very effective against Cybern. Whole bunch of scouts from Igla now. And Gimbalt is just sitting, getting an upgrade. Still no experimentals from either side. And you can see how this game is slowing down, this just massive air forces. Maybe we can see this air fight sideways somehow. Yes, both players just sort of taunting each other. There's way too many units on the screen. It'll be funny if this game actually crashes. It'll be very sad. And now we see actually Hawk here making the wrong choice. He's going to go after the T2 Navy, but it's maybe I completely misunderstood Dim here. He's not going to go after the production with his T1 Navy. He is going to go in. So it looks like he's going to box this Navy in. Here he has massive numbers, so it doesn't really matter what he does. If he engages, he's going to wipe this Navy out, and Hawk's going to be in massive trouble. He should probably think about making fatties. If you make 3-4 fatties all along this coast, you might be able to save yourself from Dim for a while. Now here comes the battle. See, early on there's advantage for UEF with the shields, but a lot of firepower from these T2 ships. And now the frigate's coming in from the side. And now here come those T3 bombers, those heroes from early on. They probably do not have nearly what it takes to save Hawk at this point. And they are going to fly into a crowd of ASF from Mice. Pretty tragic. So maybe if Iglo was to take air back now, it would even out the game. He did have slight numbers, a little while ago, and now you can see Mize's Navy, the T1 and the T2 unite exactly where Hawk's Navy used to be, and it's going to disappear very quickly. So we just saw that in slow motion. Dim's monster just eating Hawk's Navy. Of course, if it was one of these navies where both players just sort of built those for the last 20 minutes, it would be a lot harder for Dim. But Hawk wasn't really in a bad position from early on, so you can see that now the Navy for Hawk has been destroyed, and Dim is going to move in and destroy the production as well. This battle's total nonsense, just shooting at each other's shields. Still no air battle. Appears that Mize has taken a slight lead. Igla here at 27 minutes, 285 planes for Igla, 235 for Mize. So really there's no choice for Igla. He's got to take air back, because eventually Dim's Navy, you can see here, it's moving in. Hawk's base actually taking damage now. And here comes the SF battle. So we saw the numbers about extra 50 planes for Igla. But I have no idea what the heck you do with a micro in this point under these circumstances. It's about 300 on 250. A very neutral place to fight, no flag. Well, there is one cruiser from Dim. Appears that the entire force has given the move order from both players. And it appears to be a pretty big advantage for Igla early on. You can see those yellow planes disappearing. I'm just happy this will really speed the game up once they're finally done killing each other. Should have done it out of courtesy a little while ago. It'll be interesting to see the numbers after this battle. So it really sucks that this is happening over water. If they did this over over land, you can see, oh well, whoops, all those planes falling down. That's 400 mass, each one of those wrecks. They're going into the water. It would be nice on FAF where you actually have wrecks underwater. This place right here would just be covered with dead planes. There's a few here falling for Gimbalt, and it's very devastating for Mize. Let's see how many planes Igla still has. 212, so he lost about 70. And Mize lost over 200. So now Igla is going to do the right thing. He's going to move in over Mize's base, prevent any more fabrication until Mize produces some flak. And this would be a great target for some bomb to just shut that down. And now Dim is moving in with his navy, so we do see a win for the air battle for the bottom team, but a win for the naval for the other side. So still a very even game. Now here come T3 torpedo bombers from Igla. He's going to switch from spamming SF to spamming torpedo bombers. Let's see how effective they are against the cyber navy. And a fatty being constructed by suspect. And Gimbal thinking about it, eventually a chicken here in minute 28. Now you can see Dim having to make a whole bunch of shields. He is making a T3 anti-air. This is really a good looking production. He has completely switched to cruisers. No more T1, so 4 naval factory making cruisers. And a nuke from Mice. I missed that. We should see flak from Mice somewhere. Yeah, we do see T2 flak being produced. And it appears that perhaps this battle is slowly shifting in Lame God's favor. He is playing from Rock, and actually now we're going to see T3 PD versus a Navy, but a UEF Navy is not going to care. Way too much health, and actually Lion's Navy seems to be more than half their shields. So a lot of production, a lot of shields. Very surprising this has survived for so long. And now we're seeing actually Dim putting his destroyers on land. Now you can't shoot him with torpedoes anymore. And Hawk running away. Really doesn't have much left. Just a few T3 mass extractors. Has a few NGs. Whole bunch of strats coming out for Igla now. You might think about sniping something. You can see Dim upgrading his shields. It's going to be very difficult to break through this. We do see torpedo bombers coming in from Igla. Igla also switching to UEF kennels. Probably a little better if you don't plan to be hit by a bunch of ASF than the hives. These kennels can go all over the map. Still no air production for Mice. And these strat bombers right here probably plan to come in, take out this nuke. It's very important for Igla to take that nuke out. Otherwise, let's see if there's an anti-nuke. There is an anti-nuke, but it isn't loaded for Lion. And a nuke right here would really win this game for Lame God. And losing both navies on both sides, basically no way back for this bottom team. Here come the strats. They are going to fly over a couple of cruisers. They're also going to fly over some T3 anti-air. There is an anti-nuke right here, but that's not really an important target. And here is Mize with a single fighter. He's going to try to take out a few of those bombers. And you can see flying over cruisers is always bad if you're slow playing. He's going to lose one of his strats right there. He might lose another from this ASF. And yeah, this mission to kill that nuke not going so well for Igla so far. He still has 3 bombers, pretty much full health. Flying over some flak. And now you can see the shield from Mize, a very timely shield, plus some shields around this T3. So there is really no chance for Igla to take that nuke out. It's a really good shield from Mize. We also see these destroyers getting on land, now hitting by some T2 gunships. See a T2 gunship spam from Hawk. And in the middle we just saw, this is a lot of destroyers just walked over the mid choke point for Dim. Are going to help Lame out. So now this UEF Navy has to take on both UEF and Cybern. And this is a lot of firepower. Here come the bombers from Igla. Probably going to be an overkill on that destroyer. Yeah, really no chance for that Navy. And Lion's going to be in full retreat. And now we are seeing an ASF spam from Dim. He has stopped naval production for the most part. He's going to switch completely to air, making multiple hives. Looks like he's got some power problems. Now this is mixing, but I guess it's allowed if two different teams, two different players use it. It's really hard to make any kind of rules about two different players not fighting one. But a destroyer under a UEF, Cyber Destroyer under a UEF shield is an extremely powerful weapon. And now Igla has a huge bomber force here, but he's got to worry about Dim's air force. And it appears that Igla's air force has disappeared for the most part. He was flying a lot over mines, and these flags seems to have done their job. You see a lot of dead planes all over the place. That'll probably mean Mize is going to reclaim a whole bunch of mass for himself. He's at 16,000 now. Now we're at minute 31. Hawk is basically down to only a few units. It's Fatty from Suspect, quite a late Fatty at minute 31. They've basically been staring at each other with the gimbal the entire game. And yeah, Suspect did put a lot of his eco into this base here for defense, but it just got ran over by Dim. And this is quite amazing, this UEF Navy actually still alive, and a lot of these destroyers from Dim are dead. It's probably because Lame and Dim were a little too aggressive against the UEF Navy. There's way too many shields here. Pretty ridiculous. So now we have both Dim and Mize basically switching completely to air. It's going to be very difficult for Igla. He is fighting here. It looks like he is winning, but he is fighting over cruisers. So both Igla and Suspect in this water. It'd be nice to just put a nice nuke there. And there is a nuke, and it is loaded. So it's all up just up to Mize to nuke somewhere. The anti-nuke 4 line has got a 1 missile now. So this is no longer an option. And here comes the Fatty from Suspect. And actually Lame now retreating. He was a little too aggressive. And you can't blame him. That was something like 15 Cyber and Destroyers. You would think you would win, but aggression and UEF just don't mix. And here it comes. That's a 59 kill destroyer for Dim, making it into the pond. Another 35. And here comes the nuke from Mize. Be curious to see who's nuking. He could hit Suspect here in the middle. Be a good place. He could also try to hit these guys. If they don't move, this will be a nice 2-kill nuke. And this could very well be the target. The chicken from Gimbal. 32 minutes. And now we just saw Dim switch to Strat Bombers. These are Cyber and Strat Bombers, so you can put stealth on them. You can sneak in, maybe try to snipe someone. Two very good players here with Igla and the line, so you can never count them out. Actually, Strat Bombers from Dim, looks like they're hitting Hawk, but he's going to put a few shields. So we have not lost a single player yet in this game. Still a 4v4, although the bottom side definitely in quite a bit of trouble. And where is this nuke going? I think it is going to the pond. And now these two players realize they gotta run. They really should have moved a little earlier, so I'll be curious to see if they get out in time. So they're running. Where is that nuke going? Why was that nuke going there? Very strange. The strangest nuke I've ever seen. It did hurt a few of those hives,
but didn't actually kill him. Killed maybe, let's see how many kills this nuke actually got. 85. So that was a lot of NGs. But these two ACUs were dead and they knew it. So nuke right here would have taken them out. Strange. A pretty nice Strat Bomber Force from Dim now. Now where's the chicken here? The chicken's in the water. So we might see a nice move here from Gimbal. He's walking around this fatty. He might just flank it. Fatty is moving in. And somewhat of a counter now from a line. He's being pretty aggressive. But he might suffer the same fate being aggressive with the EF Navy. Fighting really close to where Lame God produces his ships. And actually Lame making this is a battle cruiser. Extremely powerful naval vessel. He actually does have already one battle cruiser. So shields, battle cruisers, and cruisers, that's really all you need if you're EF. Maybe a few torpedo boats. And this is a pretty nice so it's very interesting to see both teams have pretty massive Strat Bomber forces. So if you can get it to some ACU, you can try to snipe someone. Now here come the Strat Bombers. They're gonna hit this fatty. It's not good. For the most part missed, but here comes the chicken. It's about to flank. That's gonna be a nice chunk of mass. Here comes Igla with the ASF. We might see the second ASF battle of this game. And this time it's Mize might have slight numbers advantage. This is minute 34. Somehow the fatty's still alive, but getting chased by a chicken. Yeah, it does look like Mize has the numbers. If Mize wins this air, it's nearly game over. Because all the Strat Bombers that Dim has created. Yes, and you can see Igla getting out of there, splitting up his air force. And here come the Strat Bombers from Dim. These are stealth plus some drops. It's a T2 transport full of NGs. It's going to get all of this mass. So Hawk sitting under a shield. See the transport in the distance. And there goes Hawk. So the first kill of the game. Minute 35, Dim against Hawk. So we saw just how powerful Dim is. Hawk is a very good player from the Rock. But he was getting beat up an entire game basically. And the chicken through the middle from Gimbal. Doesn't look like there's going to be too much that suspect can do. And this is going to be a massacre. The Strat Bombers have been found out by Dim is going after them. And there's no way that Lion's going to get through these battle cruisers with a T2 Navy, but he's trying. And Mize is going to now fly over Igla's base. We got to remember Igla does have some hives. This is a very good anti oh wow, there's a bomber here. Bomber just took out that anti-nuke. I didn't even see that bomber. Excellent bomber, but a great teleport protection from Igla nevertheless. That was pretty funny. Here comes the chicken through the middle. There's also an anti-nuke here, a great target. And actually a battle cruiser is taken out. It's pretty amazing from line. Should be some more on the way, however. Lion playing extremely well. And we have another SF battle, but Mize does have the numbers. And these strats just gotta get out of there. You gotta find a new place to live. You can see the production from Dim. Massive hives, a whole bunch more hives as well. A lot of T3 power, so Dim could think about a teleport if you want to do that. And there goes Igla. I missed if somebody actually bombed him or he just quit. But it probably doesn't matter. So this is just the end of a game. The only player on the bottom team that hasn't been completely devastated at this point is Lion. Really been playing very well against Lame. It's from the beach. Suspect's about to lose his entire base to this chicken. Igla has left. Did lose the air fight, but to be honest, without Igla being a little better than Mize in this one, this game would have been over a long time ago. Those early T3 torpedo bombers from Igla bought Hakuto probably an extra 20 minutes of life. Hawk would have been dead around 15 minutes. Here come the torpedo bombers from Dim. They're gonna fly into a whole bunch of shields. And everything is going real slow in this one. It's minus 3 now. And it appears that Suspect has now thrown in the towel as well. Gotta say, I'm pretty glad he did. And now it's Lion's turn. He's now walking out of the water. Probably just gonna wait to be bombed. And there's also a chicken moving in his direction. So I'm gonna stop this recording now. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. We saw Dim really do great things from that beach spot.